Hello, how you doing? Today is Friday, um, and we'll continue with the story where we left. Remember? No.
No.
We were in Ixtapa and we found out that we could actually travel to Europe sooner than we thought. We were making good money for the first time. Well, enough money to save so we could take a plane and go. And we met these two key persons, Hugo and Mariela, who gave us opportunity to play at the restaurant in Cihuatanejo, which was called Emilio's. It was a pizza place. And we became friends with them. And Mariela had been living in Ireland. Well, she had left like, I don't know, like a few years before we met. But in the 90s, I think, was when she was living there. And her cousin and whatever. So she kind of knew that we wanted to go to Europe and we wanted to go to France or Spain or whatever. But she suggested Ireland because she knew it and she thought like, oh, they're so musical, they're gonna love you, And we said like, okay, yes, why not, right? So, but before that. Before leaving Ixtapa, do you have any other recollection that we can just record and stay in Instagram or YouTube forever?
Well, first of all, I think we were on that moment of we were really wanted to go and travel the world, and we could have done it as a tourist because at that time we made enough money from our playing. We made enough money to go as a tourist and go to Europe or whatever, but we didn't want to do that because for some reason we wanted to live in Europe first. The idea was to travel all over the world playing the guitar, and just as a kind of backpacker type of thing. And so in our head was like, if we go as a tourist, it's just 15 days and then you come back. And it's like, no, we wanted to just have another experience. So the idea was just to go and see we can do what we do here, if we can do it over there in other countries, and in that way we would experience how it is to live another culture, another language, another completely different view, another architecture. I don't know. So that was like our idea, and also was to expand ourselves as a musicians, as to learn and hear all the music and see other people playing. And at that time, we really wanted to go and see gigs and bands and musicians live. It was the first time we actually were earning decent money. So we had the money to buy records for the first time, to buy tickets or something. And here in Ixtapa, it's a resort and there's no much. Nowadays it's a little bit more, but at that time there was nothing like go and see a jazz band or anything like that. So
Well, still pretty small place too.
it's still pretty small. So that was the idea. So we said, okay, we need to go, and we need to go to Europe because Europe represents a lot of countries in a small
piece of
land in the same continent. So it is not like us going from Cihuatanejo to Chihuahua, because then we are in the same country, same culture, and so we wanted to go to a place that we can travel from this place 2-hour flight or 2 hour in a train, and then you are in a completely different culture and a completely different language, a completely different gastronomy. So, and different music and
Yes.
completely everything. So that was what we wanted to experience, and we wanted to do it by making enough money playing the guitar and changing country to country and take trains and take planes, and it was just this big dream of, and our head, at least in my head, was, yes, let's go and stay 1 week in London or 2 weeks in London, and then move and make place somewhere like another restaurant, and then make enough money and go to let's go to Scotland and Edinburgh, and then stay there 15 days or 3 weeks, and then go to, and it was in my head it was gonna be as easy as that.
But it
And
wasn't.
probably in your head too, right?
Yes, yes. Just before moving into the European journey, so by the time we left Ixtapa, 9 months had passed. So it was like a birth,
Oh, that's
yes. So by the time we left, we were playing more covers, Santana, Eric Clapton. What else were we playing?
A few bossa novas, like the
Bossa
most
novas,
the
yeah.
most obvious bossa novas, like Cliché, Chica de Ipanema, and
Mhm.
stuff. We could take five, I think, and
Yes, a
we
very
played
early version.
also play a lot of like. I can't remember, but it was like we had a lot of material, but it was, I can't really
So
remember now.
we thought, okay, we have this amount of songs, so we're going to Europe, and we will be able to walk into a restaurant or a hotel and ask for a job. And we were certain that we were gonna get it like that.
The same pattern that we did here. Let's
Yeah.
just go and ask, and one day they will give you. In our culture in Mexico, going to a restaurant for a dinner or for a fine dine experience, usually Mexicans were family based. So you go with your family to a nice restaurant, and there will be always music, live
Background
music
music.
playing. Like it can be a trio, or like a guitar trio singer, or it can be a full mariachi over the food, which is crazy, with the horns. So it's just like that. Or it can be a piano or a sing. It's always like in a bar or a restaurant. You're always going to have live music playing. And so that was in our heads. We thought this happens all over the world. And so we thought, okay, let's go to Europe. We'd never been to Europe before, and we didn't know which country. And at that time, as Rod was saying, we were playing this pizza place every night, which was a very nice pizza place. Like it was like a terrace and very bohemian. It's really
Pre-European, actually.
pre-European, nice pizza, nice wine, and we got paid. It wasn't like the first pizza place, and so the owners, who became good friends with them. Mariela, she used to live in Europe for a while as a backpacker before we met, and she actually lived in Europe for a while, especially Switzerland, because she was the nanny of a dog. She said,
Nopel.
like a nice, beautiful dog. Well, I don't know, but any dog is beautiful. So probably was a nice, beautiful, posh dog from Switzerland, and she was her nanny, and that was the way she earned some money to keep traveling. But she said she traveled Italy, a lot of places, and she loved it. She had bad experiences here and there. In Switzerland, she felt like somehow something was missing. She stayed with the dog, and she didn't really talk much with the owners, the dog owners, so she felt a little lonely. Eventually, she decided to visit her cousins in Ireland. There was another Mexican girls living in Ireland, in Dublin, and she loved it there. and she decided to stay in Ireland. She said to us that she felt very welcome. She felt it was a happy place. It was people very friendly, and
Mexican-like, right?
yeah, a little bit like Mexican, except the weather. But everything else was like happy, friendly, and she felt like, oh, she was like somehow after Switzerland, which she was completely on her own and the dog. And then all of a sudden she was with this Irish family and she was living with them and she became like their daughter, and she loved it so much, and she was like, you should go there, don't waste your time, don't go anywhere else, because this is the first place you should go, because people is very musical. There's a street where you got street musicians, and some of them are very, very good. And then we thought, okay, well, why not? Because in our head probably was maybe London or
Madrid or
no, we didn't say Madrid because
Paris, maybe, you know.
We didn't want to go to Spain because we thought it was going to be similar to Mexico, and we wanted to go to at first at something that
very,
it was
very
very
different.
different. So Ireland was very different in our head. We didn't know much about it, and that's when we came to buy tickets in one of the agencies here, where we bought a ticket to Mexico City to Paris, and then from Paris, Charles de Gaulle.
We stayed 2 nights in Paris.
2 nights in Paris, and then from Paris, we took a little plane to Dublin. And so we bought one-way ticket.
But we didn't tell the families.
We didn't tell the families.
The families knew. All they knew was that we were gonna come back in 1 month. I mean, we didn't say anything. We said like, yeah, we'll see you in a month. Our ticket is open. But we knew. And probably my brother kind of felt it. And they went to the airport. And I knew, like, see you in a few years, you know? And that was exciting because I was young and I wanted to experience something different. It is a very exciting moment when you are that age. And I think for you as well, it was something that, I mean, we both knew, but you didn't want to tell your mom either. I don't think your sister knew about it, that we were going to stay.
Oh, she was a young mother, so she was busy.
Because the thing is, we didn't know. I mean, our desire was to stay, but we could have actually gone totally in the wrong side of the road and come back a month later, right? We didn't really know, but our desire was to stay, and we did. We stayed for 4 years before we came back for the first time, but we'll get there later. So
we took the plane. So we were in Mexico City airport, and we're gonna take this plane to Paris. And I just felt I was so excited, so freaking excited. It was just like, wow, we're going to Europe, and it was. I remember my heart was just like this. I couldn't sleep, and the whole 14 hour or whatever it is. No, 10, 11, 12, I don't know. It was many hours from Mexico to Paris, and I remember I was just like very, very nervous. And our passports were new, white, blank. And then I remember there was a bunch of kids a little younger than you and I that just like sort of like rich kids going to Europe. They do that every summer. And they were just so familiar with everything, right? On the plane. And I looked at them and was just like, this is the first time we are doing this, you know. This is the first time for us. It's so special and scary and exciting at the same time, because it was just like, what the hell if we fail? What the hell if nothing happens? It doesn't really matter. At least we are gonna go. To me, it was like I really wanna. Like at that point, I dreamed about going to Europe for all my life, you know, so it was just like this dream come true.
But it's important just to let people know that we weren't looking for stardom. I mean, not at all. We were just loving the idea of being in Europe, And if we had to play in a restaurant or in a bar or in a hotel, for the next while or for a long time, we didn't care. We
No.
were sick of trying to make it, as you already know, on the with the band. So we're happy to make money in the hotels and very grateful and thankful that we could actually make money as musicians, play in the hotel and being able to travel. So we didn't go and look for, oh my God, we need to go there to make it happen, just to get a record deal or what. It's zero. That was not in our minds. Like
No.
zero.
So with that mindset, we just landed in, I think, 2 p.m. or something, and I was nervous about it at the passport, like the passport control. For some reason, I was very
But this is
edgy at that time.
This in Paris?
Yes,
Yeah.
when we just landed, I was very edgy, like really nervous person at that time, like completely anxious, and you were very calm. I used to be like, wow. So I was just thinking, I don't know, I saw myself in jail, So, and now we're just coming with a passport like this, and boom, just get in.
So we actually took a train, the airport train. We
Had 3 guitars that a
Yes.
crazy Canadian gave us,
Yes.
like 2 nights before we leave.
Uh.
He came, and it was just crazy sweet Canadian, and he loved our set in Ixtapa, one of the last sets at the hotel.
Yeah.
And he came and looking for us, and I love what you play, how you play. I want to give you my guitar. And we're like, oh no, please don't do it. It's your guitar. And he said, no, I'm a shed guitarist. You should have it.
And actually it was a
really
good guitar.
really nice guitar.
Very good
We
guitar,
were
yeah.
like, oh, it was very heavy and big. It was electroacoustic. It was a
Steel
good-
strings,
steel
yeah.
string.
And it was a very good, we sold it later, and we sold it for €3,000. So it was not
He
a bad
was
guitar,
like
yeah.
like a sweet man, and he insisted, and we just kept this guitar, and we took it with us to
Yeah.
Paris. So when we arrived, we got like 2 big
Suitcases and 3 guitars.
and 3 guitars and the backpacks, and we were just in the train.
And we
the
didn't take
subway.
taxis or whatever. We were like in our minds, we were like a little bit of backpackers. So we took train.
We took
We
the
went to
train,
one
and
hotel
then
somewhere.
we just walk in and figure this out.
Some guys were helping us,
The
right?
subway, a couple of nice guys, and then this crazy psychopath that I saw a psychopath in my head, like said, I can help you, and I was like, no, he's gonna murder us in his car. And then I convinced you, like, no, don't get in the car.
Yeah, remember, yes.
I was just like, I saw everybody as a psychopath.
Well, we just had gone through this experience, the taxi
In Mexico City,
so,
so
we,
that
we
was-
were traumatized a little bit.
So
And then, so I remember we went to this little hotel somewhere,
Shed Hotel.
shared hotels close to Pigalle area, and we left everything. We started, as you do when you go to Europe for the first time. We started walking. We went to
Wanna go
The-
to the Eiffel
the
Tower,
Eiffel
as
Tower.
cliche as
Yeah,
it sounds.
no, well, obviously.
I really wanted to go and see the fucking Eiffel Tower, and we were just like in all this some sort of a dream-like state of
Yeah.
walking on the streets and looking at
Absolutely.
Paris.
Suddenly
It was
we're like-
we crossed the full Atlantic and all of this, just so much excitement
Yes.
and this thinking about the poets. Thinking about like freaking Carlos Gardel, which is a genius tango composer. He wrote a famous tango called 20 Years After. That's 20 años después. And it's just like all of these romantic, Paris is so romantic, it's so poetic, and Lumiere and
No, we
all
were
of this.
over the moon.
Over the moon. So when we stand and look at the Eiffel Tower, the first thing I heard, it wasn't like bonjour or mon chéri. No, it was like a Mexican family from Mexico City passing by and said Claudia or something.
Dame
Right?
la bolsa. Quita la cámara. So after all, we weren't that far.
and all the way to the Atlantic. So, well, okay. So it was our
And the
first
same happened the next morning. We were
everywhere.
in the American Express office exchanging these
Traveler
checks.
checks.
And we were just,
All the
okay,
line
we
were
forgot about that
Mexicans.
thing, right? So like, probably that was a nightmare. So the lines are like, mira Leticia, pásame las cosas por ahí.
So this is like all the traveler checks like were Mexican tourists
Oh my
spending
God.
a lot of money at the shop.
And we're like, don't talk to them.
No, because it was for us. Like,
Yeah, we wanted to be away from
No,
Mexico for a little bit.
We had like a dream of Gardel and fucking Piazzolla and all that, and all of a sudden we're just like, oh, we're not like them. And no, we weren't, because we were poor and they were rich and they were spending so much money at the shopping streets.
And then another anecdote. When we came back to that hotel at night, like wrecked after traveling for,
I don't know, maybe probably we walked like
yeah, hours, like
kilometers and
hours. Yeah. So I turned the TV on, and then I turned on the TV, and I was like video channel that I didn't know. It wasn't MTV, right? So it was this European whatever. And then suddenly this song and this like big star that I didn't know of at all singing this song called Strong.
Oh, that's right.
So this is Robbie Williams. I didn't know anything about him. Of course, little girls and boys knew about the band he was in. I think he was in a boy band called Westlife or Take That or whatever. But I didn't know about that band, and I didn't know about his solo career. And this video was him playing
all over the place.
But he was playing like stadiums. And although, I mean, the song it was kind of cool, but it was just this totally different view of an American star, This guy just wearing, like, in that video, he's wearing a kilt, like this, like the Scottish. And just, and the video was part in Ireland, because you could see the flags, And to me, it was like, welcome to Europe. This nothing similar to what I'm used to in the States or in Mexico. This is like, and I have a good recollection of that particular memory, and a good connection, because he was like, to me, it was like, this music is so different. It's like, that rock, that star is so different, and so, yeah, that was welcome to Europe for us.
Yeah, it was that moment, and then we had to be prepared to leave for Ireland next day, really, really early, with all the guitars, with all of the stuff, and a lot of butterflies
Yes.
in my stomach, because it was like,
then I was nervous too.
Whoa, now we're going, tomorrow our flight was really early. And it was just like, ton, 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 what's gonna happen, ton, 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 ta-da, and we're gonna leave it there until next chapter. Please don't forget, it's next Friday.
Don't miss out.
Don't miss out, and please subscribe. Bye bye.
Adios.